Bitcoin Twitter is abuzz with RFK Bitcoin support news. Yeah, in case you've been living under a rock, you may not know that RFK has been doing a good job of campaigning using the what we'll call it the orange washing technique of presenting Bitcoin in a very positive light and as a maybe a tool for political advantage. Anyways, let's dive into this. All right, so here we go. Bitcoin Magazine, huh? Doing a big push, doing a big RFK push. Interesting. So here's the first tweet. We now have a U.S. presidential candidate officially pledging to eliminate Bitcoin capital gains taxes. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to complain about that. If that can actually happen, that'd be pretty cool. But of course, right, this is meant to stir up the warm and fuzzies. This is supposed to make us feel confident and happy and excited, right? Okay, let's move on. So here's another tweet from Bitcoin Magazine. Democratic presidential candidate RFK Jr. has unveiled two groundbreaking Bitcoin policy proposals aimed at increasing economic prosperity and freedom in the United States. And the main point of this is that he is announcing a plan to back the dollar with Bitcoin. Okay, among other things, right? Gold, silver, whatever, just quote unquote hard money. Anyways, okay, so we've got this very happy news, right? This very happy news. Bitcoin Magazine has, been pushing a lot of RFK rhetoric, and we've got this awesome tweet from Predator. Shout out to Predator. If you don't follow this account, you definitely should. He is a great account that does fantastic research. Let's take a look at this. Turns out Bitcoin Magazine is the founder of RFK's PAC. That's right. PAC is a political action committee. Heal the divide. Oh, look at that. We're proud to witness and listen to Kennedy's extraordinary plan to restore America's currency by capitalizing on the world's first absolutely finite asset, said Healing the Divide co-founder and Bitcoin Media CEO David Bailey. None of us are better than our incentives. That same rule goes for the corporations. Okay? Doesn't matter. And of course, right? It's to Bitcoin Magazine's advantage to help fund this type of a political action committee, right? Because it also amplifies their signal as well. So, but it's okay. This is we're gonna have some discussion at the end. Right now, I just want to go through these pieces and let just to get some of the commentary that's out there on Bitcoin Twitter. So here's one from Magoo, another great Bitcoin account. Let's go here at Hodl Magoo. Candidates that have no shot at winning in a general just say anything their base wants to hear in order to get donations. Okay, that's definitely one perspective, and we're going to dive into this. I just want to wrap up by taking a look at Richard Whitman's opinion. I think that this is also very interesting. So here we go. Someone will tell you these announcements and plans by Kennedy are nothing burgers who don't live in the U.S. and are short the USA. But these are important developments in the acceptance of Bitcoin as a global store of value. Just the idea of a presidential candidate with a lot of support, even discussing backing the dollar with Bitcoin and eliminating capital gains tax on Bitcoin is something nobody would ever thought would happen just 2 years ago. I think both Magoo and Dick Whitman, I believe they both make interesting points. Here's the one piece, right? To Magoo's point, I have a very hard time trusting politicians. I've always had a hard time trusting politicians. The reality is that their goal, right? And again, none of us are better than our incentives. So it's not like I'm sitting here saying like, oh, these human beings are unusually terrible human beings in comparison to others. No, we're all the same crap. I know that most of us don't want to believe that, but yeah, guess what? We're all humans and we're all the same crap, okay? And none of us are better than our incentives. And the reality is that a politician, right, the person in government, their incentive is to remain employed in government, okay? Our incentive is to continue to grind out what we are doing in order to make ends meet in order to get a paycheck. This is not, this is not a secret. So to think that somebody like RFK, who, to be perfectly honest, none of us were talking about last year, okay? None of us. All of a sudden, his name is everywhere. Everyone is talking about him. And the reality is that he is also incentivized to do what is needed to get to the position that he wants. So, yeah, there's a lot of politicians that are going to come and placate to the plebs and to the Bitcoiners. I remember last year, was it last year or the year before that? All of a sudden, all of these people that were running in local ridings, they started to pop onto our podcast, onto our YouTube show. I'm not talking about Pleb Underground. I'm talking about when I was on Simply Bitcoin, and they all of them were excited about Bitcoin. One of the guys we interviewed from New Hampshire had no idea, didn't even know what he was talking about when it came to Bitcoin. He was just, hey, crypto. like, is this going to get me votes? Is talking about this gonna get me seen in a more positive light? So yes, there is that aspect of this whole thing. Now, we're going to move over to Dick Whitman's point about people saying that this is, maybe a nothing burger. Okay, so I have my Canadian citizenship and I also have my U.S. citizenship. Now, so in terms of Dick's comment about, people being short the U.S. or people outside the U.S. saying this RFK stuff is a nothing burger. So look, it's not black or white, right? Like the majority of our existence is gray area. Okay. And this in particular is a gray area. It's not a nothing burger, but it's also not a massive development that will, change the wheels of history or something like that. Like, it's kind of an in-between, he's a very popular politician because of his father. And the reality is that he can gain on that popularity, and he can also spread messaging that many people will end up hearing, people that wouldn't normally maybe be hearing about this messaging. Okay, so I can see that perspective, right? Where the Bitcoin messaging is now going to get out to people that maybe wouldn't be getting it. I do think that this is, okay, I'll back up. I don't care and even when I was living in Canada or anything like that, I don't care about political parties. I think all of this is bullshit, okay? Everybody just works for lobbyists. Everyone just works for whoever pays them a paycheck, right? Tell me who gives you a check and I'll tell you where your loyalties lie. That's just what it is, okay? Because everybody needs to eat. That's just what it is. So I don't care about Republicans, Democrats, independents, all this crap. Like, it's completely irrelevant. But I will say this. The framing of Bitcoiners has been predominantly libertarian, okay, and Republican. We're not going to get into the differences between the two parties and all of their beliefs or anything like that. But I will say this. It's very interesting, right, that RFK is a Democrat, and this kind of has been a little bit of a kind of a sore spot with Bitcoiners because essentially Bitcoiners get portrayed as right-leaning and or libertarian. So to have this Democratic candidate essentially explaining the virtues of Bitcoin, that may end up turning some heads, at least on the Democrat side. I mean, I can tell you this. I'm sure that Elizabeth Warren is absolutely hating this because she hates crypto. But more importantly, she hates proof of work and she hates Bitcoin because that stuff stops the money printer. So I'm not going to say that this whole RFK stuff is a nothing burger. I also don't think it's as big as some people are making it out to be. I say this. If this guy gets elected, right? If this guy gets elected, let's see what he actually follows through with. I never place too many hopes in politicians because unfortunately their goal is to garner attention and garner votes. That's all. Once they're in power, they can do whatever they want. They don't have to follow through with what they told you they were going to do. It's good to keep the hopium in check. Okay. We like this news. It sounds good. Right now, it's getting looked at through a rosy lens, but let's just be objective. He's just a politician, and this is Bitcoin. Anyways, guys, that wraps up our clip. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I will catch you all tomorrow.